Hey everyone, this is the Random Podcast, and I'm Brandon.
I'm Blakely.
And today we got some I would say pop culture news, but it's
Movie
like all
news.
over the place, all over the dang place. We do have our notes because
We're old.
well, mine is like not only that, but it's we've been winging it. We're trying to become better. We're I don't know, trying to flex, but it's like fat. But first up, and I'm gonna actually read these. I'm not gonna paraphrase. I want to read it. I actually got this off of. I didn't recognize I can't even pronounce the name of the website I got this off of. But Guillermo del Toro, who is best known for like Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, he's done some really good work. And when I say Hellboy, I'm talking Ron Perlman Hellboy.
First one?
Yes.
Not this recent remake of.
The recent remake was pretty good.
I never watched
There
it,
were some issues. David Harbour was okay, but some of the writing was just bad. But he's going to write and direct it, and it's based on. This is about Frankenstein, by the way. I forgot to say that. Guillermo del Toro is writing and directing a new Frankenstein movie, which is based on the 1818 novel by Mary Shelley. It was originally called Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Is this part of the Universal?
I would say
doing it, or
I'm about to get that, but it's one of those scenarios where that's dead. That's dead in the water.
Okay.
The Universal stuff, it's already been said dead in the water. The Mummy didn't do well, and I think a lot of the reasons that didn't do well, the casting was bad.
talking about the Tom Cruise one?
Yes, I love Tom Cruise. I love Russell Crowe. Those were not the two that should have been in it. As we've saw from Marvel and some previous DC and some of these other movies, you don't have to have a big star for a series to work. Some companies, all they think is, oh, well, if we get Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie, the movie's going to sell. Not necessarily. It still has to be good. But this film was first announced back in 2007, but was stalled at Universal by 2014. So it's been in what they call development hell for 20 years.
Yeah.
But Netflix has revived the project back in 2023 because he was up for an award for Pinocchio, which I've not saw. I heard it's good, but I
The live
not
action
saw
one
it.
that had Tom Hanks in it?
Yes, I believe that is the one.
never watched
But it was up for best animated feature. So maybe it's not that one. No, this is a different
have
one.
to
This
be a
would
live
have to
action.
be. No, this was the animated one.
Way back in the day?
No, in 2023, there was two. There was the Tom Hanks one that I think went straight to Disney. I don't think it ever went in theaters.
I don't remember Pinocchio going.
But filming began in February of 2024 for this movie, and it just wrapped up September 30th. So it's not been long ago. And as far as I know, there's not a trailer for the Frankenstein movie yet. There's one for Wolfman, which is what is the guy that played Moon Knight? Oscar Isaac is playing Wolfman, I believe. But in this one, it's going to have Mia Goth, which I'm going to be honest with you, I hate to say it. The only reason I know her is because she was either dating or fiance to Shia LaBeouf. That's the only reason I know her.
I think
but
she played in.
She does a lot of your.
She was recently in those A24 movies. I think.
Yeah,
in them movies.
She does stuff like that. So she's not new to like a horror, or I would say where acting is involved, because she does a lot more movies where I would say less CGI. Christoph Waltz, who's a really good actor. Christian Convery, I don't really know him. Lars Mikkelsen, which I believe is
Jack Nicholson's son.
No, Mikkelsen. He's
Nicholson.
kin to Mads Mikkelsen, I believe. I think it's his son. And I'm assuming that because of name. I really shouldn't. David Bradley, Charles Dance, which Charles Dance is an older actor. I don't think you would know him, but he's the villain. I want to say he's the villain from Last Action Hero with Arnold. And then Ralph Ineson. But nobody knows who's playing what role. I'm assuming Christoph Waltz is more than likely going to be
Because when you need someone taller to be Frankenstein,
not necessarily. You do have prosthetics. But Frankenstein. I would imagine Christoph Waltz is probably Doctor Frankenstein because a lot of people don't realize Frankenstein was not the monster. I mean, that was not his name.
Doctor was the.
It was the name of the doctor. But Frankenstein does not. He doesn't have a release date. Though it is supposed to premiere on Netflix in 2026 at some point.
I wonder why so long since they've already filmed it and stuff.
You got to take into effect,
and there's no telling how much Netflix has years in advance.
Right, and you got to think it just wrapped September 30th. You got reshoots. It could be one of those where it's on a time schedule to where maybe it's finishing faster than they thought. It might be with a place like Netflix, like you said, they have stuff down the pipe for 5-10 years. They might move it up. Like it might take a slot of something else.
Yeah.
Or a TV show. You can never really tell on any of that. So.
Well, on that string of what would we call those monsters? Like
it is considered part of. They're just the Monster Universe.
Monsters Universe. It got released, I think, Friday. Blumhouse is producing The Mummy. It's not the what's his name?
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser Mummy. It's nothing like that.
It's not your mama's mummy.
It's more of a horror movie than an action movie. Not much plot has come out about it. Just Blumhouse is producing it, and the release date for theaters April 17th, 2026. That's all pretty much that it's about at this moment.
And we don't know if there's any correlation between the Mummy and Frankenstein either. Because usually the Monsters universe is Dracula, Wolfman, Mummy, Frankenstein. Invisible Man sometimes pops in there. So we have no clue.
There's no casting or nothing for it. Just the director of it, but I didn't put his name.
Neither one of us recognized the name.
Aaron Corney, I think he did the latest Evil Dead Rising movie.
And there's another one of them coming out.
Yeah, I think by the same guy. I think. Well, that leads into I have a lot of Scream casting news because I guess I'm the Scream hub.
You're the nut job.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say hoe.
Well, officially,
definitely nut job.
Probably officially, Courtney Cox officially returns because she released her little movie thing she's going to do in the upcoming year. So she's back. Anna Kemp, you probably don't recognize her or remember her name, but she was in Pitch Perfect. She was
didn't watch them.
Well, she was in. That's what I remember her from because there's one of those guilty. There's one of those guilty movies I like is Pitch Perfect because Anna Hendricks in it, but that's neither here or there. She joined the cast. It's rumored she's supposed to play Sydney's neighbor, and her daughter's supposed to be best friends to Sydney's daughter.
She's getting marked.
Probably. Mason Gooding, he's from the core four of the last two movies. He's supposed to be returning. There's a rumor his twin sister, I can't remember her name, is supposed to be in it too. Maybe, and then the big news that every fan wanted was McKenna Grace is going to be in it, officially in the casting. They're supposed to be in they're supposed to be filming starting in February. Mm-hmm. We'll probably get more plot details and stuff more coming up. And I don't know if it's been official yet, but they're in development for a Scream 8.
So probably 2026 is when they
Scream 7, 2026, about February.
Okay.
27th, I think, is the date for Scream 7.
I think you said that before, yeah.
But we'll start getting more like plot, I feel like. Because there's every couple days there's casting getting announced. There's other ones like I didn't put up, but Gen V, like the bad guy mainly in Gen V is in the movie. Gen V, it's like spin-off for The Boys. He's supposed to be in it, and like a couple other ones. And then going away from Scream, Austin Butler has been cast as Patrick Bateman in the remake for American Psycho.
Which, if a lot of people don't know, the original American Psycho was Christian Bale.
Yes.
And I think they made a second one.
They made a second one with
but I can't remember the guy that's in it.
It's a girl version. It's the girl.
Well, that's why I couldn't remember a guy being in it.
It was
Isn't she like a big deal now?
She's married to what's his face.
That helps.
Played in that 70s show. She was also in that 70s show.
Mila Kunis?
Yeah, Mila Kunis was.
Oh, no wonder it was bad.
It was really bad.
I know the first one is like a cult classic. And it's also a meme. It's a meme as well.
Did it come out early 2000s or 90s? Like 90s?
I think I was in 2002. Yeah, that's about right. I sometimes forget how old some movies are. Like a decade old, and I'm thinking 20 years. So I don't know. We'll wait and see on that, because that one.
Because it's being.
Movies like that.
It's been announced that they're making another American Psycho, but they haven't fully came out to. It's supposed to be a remake of it, of course.
Really?
But now, I saw this since last time we met for Pop Culture. I saw this. But that's basically it. All I got for horror news on my end.
Horror. So, kind of up next, and this is a little bit of a change from our, obviously. I never played Warhammer. I doubt you did either.
No.
When I think of Warhammer, I know there's video games, but I think of the classic, like chess or checkers type board with it. I never got into it. I heard it's a very expensive hobby. But I do know Amazon Prime Video, which, usually if Amazon Prime Video's name is remarked, it comes out on Prime. There is no theaters. Kind of like if you hear Netflix, it's on Netflix. But they're officially advancing the live-action adaptation of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Henry Cavill is going to star and serve as executive producer. And I will say, once I saw Henry Cavill's name, I was on board. Because Henry Cavill's the type that the fans love because he loves what he does. Like The Witcher, he was big on that. And look how, at season 1 and 2. You look at when he played Superman. If he's into the property, you're getting full Henry Cavill. Now, I'm usually not big on, and I got more news, I'm kind of getting on a tangent, but when I know his name gets mentioned a lot for stuff, but I feel like as a fan, it's a fan watching a fan make a movie. Like, he's doing a new Highlander movie, so I'm excited about it. Because he wants to do it.
Is that the movie that
That's the one I mentioned last time. That's the one where they cut their heads off and they get their memories and and not really, I guess, power, but not power. I don't know their abilities. Like if they were good at martial art, some of that carries over. And we still don't know what part he's playing. And he's also going to be in the new Voltron movie. I just don't have a lot of info on that because I don't know a lot about it. But it also says that the Warhammer 40,000 franchise, renowned for its expansive lore and complex narratives, with a lot of big words right there, is expected to be translated into a series of films and TV productions under Amazon's banner. And, when I think of the TV shows are probably going to be like spinoffs. Mm-hmm. Like you had with the Marvel, DC, what they were talking about doing with the Monster Universe. We're starting to get that in more animated movies as well. My only thing is I don't know any of the main characters. I would imagine he's playing the main. And with Amazon getting more and more out there, as far as its production stuff and their value, I'm sure they're going to pour a lot of money into this. And he'll be using Superman money. Yeah. So.
And speaking on Amazon Prime, I know that we didn't have this written down, but since we're on the topic of Amazon Prime, they were Mr. Beast's Game Thing show just recently, and it's really good.
You have that, and the new Alex Cross is out as well. Mm-hmm. So they're doing something for everyone. To lead into that, they are...
And then, of course, they got the Boys and stuff like that.
Yeah, franchise. They have Boys. They have the Rings of Power from Lord of the Rings. They have There was another big franchise they were getting as well that'd come later. But that's kind of all I got on Warhammer for now.
I got news on Adam Sandler. His most anticipated Happy Gilmore 2. He's trying him and his production company.
Yeah,
I forget what it's called. I just know about Driven. That's the only thing. That's not his production, but after the guy hits golf club. They're trying to get it released around July of this upcoming year on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it because that's one of my favorite comedy movies of all time. Also, Eminem is supposed to be in the film.
He's taking Bob Barker's spot.
Could be, but there's no...
You know who should take Bob Barker's spot? Drew Carey. I stand on that now.
That would be funny.
Yeah, and then he gets beat up by Drew Carey. He already got destroyed by Bob Barker. It's one of the best parts of the movie.
You don't really see Eminem do a lot anymore.
No.
So it'll be interesting to see.
He's about to be a grandfather.
He already is.
Oh, she had the.
I think she's already had it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of cute interaction.
Yeah. But that's all I have. I mean, I have news on Meet the Parents with Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller, but I'm waiting to get more.
Yeah, there's no release date. We don't know
about filming. I think I told you just last Sunday about it.
Yeah.
Because that's when. Yeah. But I'm waiting. There's a couple other things I'm waiting on to get more information on it, but because there's a Glenn Powell movie soon that I need to get more information.
It's another busy man right there.
And then there's one that's supposed to have Ryan Reynolds and Jason Momoa in it. Movie, but I'm waiting.
It could be either really boring or just like over the top.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get more news on that. But that's all I have for my little segment.
Well, I have a little bit of Marvel, which I think you have a little bit at the tail end, but it's not a lot on the show, which is kind of a given. We've been getting a lot of news. But Daredevil Born Again will premiere March the 4th. That is now officially set on Disney+. I don't think a lot of explanation is needed. We know Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil. We know... I can't remember the guy's name that plays Punisher. He was Shane in Walking Dead. I love the guy, and I can never... John Bernthal is back as Punisher. We know... I'm blanking on the name. Vincent D'Onofrio will be back as Kingpin. I believe... At one point, there was mentioned, and I don't know if it's going to happen... I can't remember her name that played Incredible... or She-Hulk. Might have a episode or two, but I don't know...
It's supposed to be
that 19, show is up in the air.
It's supposed to be like 19 episodes.
So much, yeah. It's up in the, and it's a one-time thing. It's not 2 to 3 seasons. From what I understand, it's a mini series. It's one season. I have a feeling he's going to be. They've been talking for years about doing a street level superhero movies, and there's been a lot of teams. So that's kind of what's going on with that. But I do have some Spider-Man 4 news.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 4 is going to be one of those titles, no matter how it goes. It's like Superman, Batman, type thing. I'm thinking that was the chair. People are going to go watch it.
Yeah.
That's one of those properties people are going to go watch it. It doesn't matter who you get. Even if you hate the casting, people watch it. I mean, it's happened every time. It's set to begin production next year, 2025. Yeah, 2025. Yeah. But the highly anticipated sequel has been under lock and key from Marvel Studios and Sony. I know what you're thinking. Well, Sony, but don't get it wrong. Sony still has the rights for now.
Marvel's just the main.
Marvel's just
the main producing.
Right, Marvel. There are certain things Sony still has, but they're on loan out to Marvel. But the only details that are confirmed is that Tom Holland is going to be back as Peter Parker. And the Shang-Chi, I'm trying to pronounce it right, and Legend of the Ten Rings director Dustin Daniel Cretton, I'm hoping that's not Creton, is set to helm the film. Now, Shang-Chi is one of those movies for me. Could it have been better? Yes. I still enjoyed it. Some of the story and action were off for me. Like, I felt when we should have got more action, we got more story, and vice versa. From some of the rumors, and I don't like to put rumors on here. Some of what was being said, I do like. I don't want to go into the rumors of who. I want it to be a solo Spider-Man film. Just him, no help from other, heroes. Let's get him his own movie. I'm hoping that, from what I understand, I don't know if Zendaya is fully signed on. Did I say it wrong?
Zendaya.
Say Zendaya. But even the most speculation is now that if she is in it at all, it's going to be very small because, of the last one.
You got how the last one ended.
Rumor has it also as well, they might be looking for Gwen Stacy to come in there. But all that speculation. So I say in the next...
We'll get more news.
3 to 4 months. I just wanted to put it out there.
More news around Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four time.
Yeah, I would say June, July.
Because that's when Spider-Man is supposed to take place. Is between June, that time of year.
Yeah.
The following year. Because people forget Avengers Doomsday is like May 26th of 2026. Yeah. Am I just trying to put 26 to 26 again?
Yeah, it'd be... I would think... If you're going to put out a Spider-Man movie, it's going to be May. I think some of the Tobey Maguires were in May.
I know the last Spider-Man movie was in December.
Right. And I don't think... This movie's not coming out next year. I promise you. And they got a slate. Marvel doesn't usually get off the slate unless movies do really bad. And right now, the way the new Captain America is going... I don't know if it's going to do very well. There's been too many reshoots. We plan on watching it. We also plan on watching Thunderbolts. Honestly, the trailer for Thunderbolts, the last one I saw, didn't do it justice. I think the original teaser was better than the actual trailer. But you actually had something on a Marvel movie as well.
Oh, Black Panther. Black Panther.
You may have forgot, but we reminded.
I can't remember if it's in production. I think it's in production of Black Panther 3 because...
I know it's been announced.
Denzel Washington kind of threw out there
yeah,
about him being in the next one. I don't really know what the plot... We don't know what the plot is yet.
We don't...
The only Marvel movie I think we know the plot of in the future, that the longest one is probably Fantastic... We don't even know the plot of Fantastic Four yet, dude.
All we know is 60s. That's it.
I think the only one really know the plot would be Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts and Captain America. And even some of that's been erased and changed.
But I know it's in production or something like that.
I would say if anything, if I was guessing, it would be after Doomsday.
It might be even after Secret Wars. There's no.
It might even be a prelude to Secret. I mean, there's no telling.
Their
slate is so
there's a
couple
couple
off the wall.
of Marvel stuff I left off until there's full confirmation on it.
Right.
I think they're waiting until Thunderbolts and probably Captain America, of course, and Thunderbolts get done. Is Fantastic Four supposed to be the end of what we're in now?
It's beginning.
Or the beginning?
I think it's beginning the next phase.
So that means
the end of this phase is Thunderbolts.
We'll get more stuff by July of next year.
The end of this phase is Thunderbolts.
We'll get more stuff by probably Thunderbolts ending to Fantastic Four.
Because the next phase is called Doomsday. Or something like that. It's something. We had it in a previous video. I touched on it. But over to the news we really want to talk about that, to me, is more important. DC news. And the reason I say it's more important is I'm more of a DC fanboy. But, and this is a long one right here. So I'm going to have to get my glasses on when I read this. But they're like John Cena. You can't see them. Sorry, I had to.
No, that's right.
And a little bit of this... It's that was a good segue because John Cena might be in some of this. But DC Studios still plans on making the previously announced Peacemaker spinoff Amanda Waller. Which Amanda Waller, which I explained it to you, and I know her from the comics. She is over the Suicide Squad. She's the main one.
She was the one in the
She's
movie.
actually also in Peacemaker because she's the one that sets that up. I don't know. I've not saw Creature Commandos. That is on my list. I believe she is. And I'll be honest with you, Viola Davis. There's only like 3 from, and I sent you a video on what James Gunn is considered canon. I didn't want to get into it on here, but the spinoff series Waller was part of James Gunn's initial DC Universe slate announcement in January of 2023. Originally, the spinoff was set to premiere before Peacemaker Season 2, which we now know will not be, but serving as like a bridge between Superman and Peacemaker 2, because Peacemaker 2 is...
I think it would come out maybe September.
It comes out in August, like a month or 2 after Superman. But the with the strikes that went on, the actors and writers strikes, Waller was pushed back, with Gunn later confirming that the series would now debut after Peacemaker Season 2. So, to me, Peacemaker Season 1 is one of the best comic book shows to ever be on.
It was really good.
Because we got to see a side of John Cena we've wanted to see for years. And it's rare in my lifetime I can say I can't see anybody else playing a part. Like I can't see anybody else playing Iron Man. I can't see anybody else playing Peacemaker. And there's a couple other roles that have been like that. Not many in my lifetime can I say that with. I don't get to see as much of it because it's on HBO Max and I don't have HBO Max. But once stuff is finished, I'll probably get it and then binge it. Because Creature Commandos is still coming out. It's not been fully released. And then the only other thing I have left as far as our pop culture movie news is the new Superman trailer dropped. Actually, the teaser was on Tuesday. Thursday was the full trailer.
I think teaser one. Yeah, it was
something like those.
It came out this past
There
week.
was a day or two difference. The teaser was good, but that trailer had me ready to see it now.
Oh yeah.
Like if he released a pre-early edition with all the mistakes, I'd watch it. That's why I'm sporting the Superman shirt. I don't know if you can tell because my fat rolls roll pretty good. I've been trying to stay away from the negativity on it because that's stupid. You get that with all of them. Personally, one of my favorite parts, and he's my least favorite Green Lantern, was Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner because the hair suited him to a T, which is a football comic book lore. Go back and I'm not going to explain a lot of that. James Gunn teaches, and there's plenty of people that talk about it. There's a couple characters I want to see more on, and we will get more. I'm sure a bigger trailer will hit. Super Bowl, we always get good trailers, and a great Doritos commercial. I still can't get over the one where the guy comes out after the kid was kicking it, tells him to get off his property. He's like, "You're so old." But anyway, back to Superman. I like seeing Crypto. Nicholas Hoult looks great as Lex. I feel like we're going to get a Lex from the comics where he's just downright nasty individual. Not that we haven't. From what I understand, Nicholas Hoult took some of his inspiration from Lex Luthor from Smallville. Michael Rosenbaum, which is great to go off of. I'm not sold on Lois Lane yet, but I don't know her well. I mean, they didn't show her a lot.
No.
So I don't have a lot to base off. I was worried about who we were getting as Superman, but I felt Superman from him. I felt
in
those
trailers,
vibes.
it looked like Clark Kent was different than Superman.
Yeah, a visible difference.
Visible.
Not just one, was it called Jerry Curl? It was his whole hair. The glasses made him look way different. I love the look, but I love that we got more Superman in the trailer than Clark Kent. I felt like that's been some issues we've had, is more Clark than Superman. I want both, obviously, but I felt we got a vulnerable Superman, not just
It didn't,
OP.
and it didn't look all dark. You know what I mean?
I liked it was bright. A lot of people were complaining how bright it was, and I'm like, it's a comic book. You won't. Superman is meant to be bright, and I don't mind a little bit of darkness to it. I liked Henry Cavill with a little bit of darkness, but Superman, you kind of want that, and I'm anxious to see where it goes because you had some of the the crowd and the way the people were. I'm like, okay, where is he pulling from? I'll need more do more.
And
research.
it could be. I heard this like there's speculation that it could be Lex Luthor. Like if you look in the trailer, Superman's busting out like out of a window or whatever.
Yeah.
And it could be where Lex Luthor like made this fake Superman and told him how how bad Superman was and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that could what we would get in the trailer where you see the people.
Could be getting Bizarro.
Yeah.
Now Metamorpho, I thought that was actually like somebody else, but it was Metamorpho.
Yeah.
Mr. Terrific looked excellent.
I think they said Ultraman. Maybe I'm thinking something different. Might be thinking something different.
Yeah, I don't know of Ultraman being in
I don't know.
DC. Hawk Girl looked really good. Unless she's going by Hawkwoman now, but I've always known her as Hawk Girl. It looked really good to me. I was
Lady
ready
Hawk
to watch.
she's going bad in the movie.
I don't know.
She looked good though. I like that scene where Guy Gardner's coming in
and he shoots the yes. I'm thinking we're gonna get the Guy Gardner where he's just a straight up a-hole, and he's gonna be butting heads with Superman constant. Now I didn't notice it in the trailer. Sean Gunn's Maxwell Lord is going to be in it as well. I figure we'll get him at a later date.
You're talking about the scene where he's at that gravesite thing with he was like in the building, and there was some like Easter egg. Like he was looking at the thing, and above it had a name on it. And
I didn't look that far in depth. When
I watched
the
an Easter egg video.
Yeah, see, I don't do those.
So
I wait for the movie to come out usually when I'm looking for that. Some people deep dive too far for me.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't. I didn't notice that. But I think it's going to be good. I like what James Gunn's doing. I like the fact that he's taking his time. In the video I sent you, talking about Superman and some of the what's canon.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into the canon, but he said if we're taking our time, if the writers and me we come to look at a script and we don't like it, we're not putting it out.
Yeah, and what
and I think that's good because this is not a hit at Marvel or anything. We're getting too many movies out there that it's like, what are y'all doing? Like, y'all aren't listening to the fans.
And I wonder
not doing anything.
I wonder if they'll take another look at Fantastic Four, because you gotta think. I think a week before, a week after, Fantastic Four comes right after this movie or before.
I can't remember. It's like they're within a week span. I don't remember if it's before.
So I wonder.
I know Superman's like July 26th or something.
I wonder. I'm not saying Marvel panic, but it's like, okay, we got to do something after this trailer.
As much as I love Fantastic Four, Superman's a better big screen for me. Not to mention, I had doubts about the Superman casting, but not in the doubts that I have with Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is set in a period I don't know much about. I think I have a couple comics on, but I don't have much on it. Superman is so mainstream, I could look it up in a heartbeat and not be a problem. And that's not to talk down on Fantastic Four. They're just not your breed of Superman. As much as I love them, they're not Superman, Batman. I'm trying to think of some Marvel that's out. I mean, before the movies. Spider-Man, obviously. Stuff like that. They're not that caliber. Even though they're considered the first family of Marvel. They don't even unfortunately, I hate to say it, hold a candle to the Bat family because of the members and who they are. But Superman, I'm not a big Superman fan. Yeah, you look at some of my stuff, you could say that, but I just think it looks cool. Superman has me legitimately ready for.
And I like the score, the sound of.
Yes, they did it on. Was it a electric guitar?
Yeah, the.
Is it John Williams? It's the original guy who did the original. He played it on.
It made the trailer better too.
I felt ramped up. I was like,
I love the scene where it's like slow mo and the stuff's going on. It was really good.
And him saying to Krypton, "Home, take me home," was kind of like, okay, we're gonna see this Fortress of Solitude this early. What are we seeing? And I like the fact that I know we're getting other characters like Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl, but I think that's a good ensemble to put with him because they're, as much as I love Mr. Terrific, and I've only discovered Mr. Terrific in the last 10 years, people forget how OP Mr. Terrific can be.
I think James Gunn said he's like the third smartest.
In DC. And there's been 2 to 3 times he's actually saved Superman's butt in the comics. And he's got those cool spheres. I mean, I could go on for a while. The casting looks great. He looks like Mr. Terrific from the comics to me. Hawk Girl, I've always had an up and down relationship with because comics have changed their stories off and on. But I think if you notice, the ones that are with him in this cast are more of your B tier.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yes, Guy Gardner is a Green Lantern, but Guy Gardner is no one's favorite that I know of. I hate him because of his attitude.
And it's also going to help leading up to the Green Lantern TV series.
Yes, because that is...
Because that comes like right after, doesn't
September or October, because it's after Peacemaker Season 2.
DC's going to have a big year next year.
Yes, and the thing is with the Green Lantern show, I have a feeling Guy Gardner is going to be leading into that. Like, there's going to be... Look for Superman, because, DC is notoriously for not doing after credit stuff. Now, Christopher Nolan did. He had a couple. But DC has not usually done it that I can remember. I'm wondering if he's going to do that, James Gunn. But I loved how when it first came on and it said from, James Gunn, who brought you Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. I'm like, it's one of the best trilogies, if not the best trilogy in Marvel. Now, I had some of my issues with the second one, but 1 and 3 are some of the best movies.
I know it's just a trailer, but it didn't seem like it had that James Gunn, like...
No.
James Gunn, like, having a group and type of like how his movies are.
It felt fun.
It did. It felt finally... I haven't been this excited for, like, a superhero movie, like, by itself.
Yeah.
Now, we were excited for Deadpool and Wolverine because...
That's because of the team up. Yeah.
Stuff like that. But to be like a solo,
yeah,
I can't remember the last one.
Yeah. We were excited for like the Spider-Man, but then you had all the legends, So yeah, as an individual, I think I was telling you 5 to 7 years, if not longer.
And I try to think about when was the last movie like that, but I just... Like, I was excited for Robert Pattinson's Batman, because I'm a big Batman fan. But
bigger than me.
Not bigger than me,
I'm a nut job. But, you got Scream, I got Batman.
But, which Matt Reeves is supposed to do some in James Gunn DCU. I don't know what it's supposed to be yet.
I think he's going to be doing some of the animated.
I think he's also going to be doing executive produce of the Batman as soon as it goes into DC.
I think he has something to do with Brave and the Bold.
I think
the Batman movie. And we should have casting for that in the next. James Gunn's, what I like about it is he's doing what Marvel did in the beginning.
Because
quiet. And then when it hits it.
Matt Reeves is doing, I think he's doing Batman, and I think he's also doing something else at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's rumors that he's doing Batman 2 and 3 together at the same time.
Yeah, and I think 3 is it. it stops.
Because I think
at
Robert Pattinson
3.
signed on for 3 Batman films. But I know that James Gunn hasn't came out and said it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they bring Robert Pattinson's Batman in if they see how...
Yeah, I right now I know it's supposed to be separate because it's like the multiverse setup. Because Harley Quinn's in that multiverse setup as well. I'm hoping we don't get Joker for a while.
Yeah, I don't think we are because of the last run.
Well, and Joker I think's in Batman 2 with a mixture of someone else.
But that's not that would because if you think about it, in which one was Heath Ledger's in there with? Was it The Dark Knight Rises?
That was the second. Yeah, Rises. Yeah.
See, Joker wasn't by himself. You also get Two-Face in there.
Right. Yeah, but what I guess I've gotten...
And I wouldn't mind them trying to do something else with Two-Face.
Right. Well, there's so many Batman villains.
Like
and we're getting Clayface down the road.
They haven't. Yeah, they just did Scarecrow. No, that was the Riddler they did.
Yeah.
Not Scarecrow.
The Riddler.
Which he was actually a pretty good villain in the movie.
But I'm very excited. I already kind of was, but I went from like 6 to a 10.
July next year is a busy month.
And July through December, DC's popping off. The thing is that DC's going to have to watch out is for like Supergirl. The Green Lantern show for me is going to have to be almost perfect. I love the casting right now. It's rare I say I love casting on anything. The casting is good. I was a little worried at first. Casting of Sinestro down the line is going to be a big deal. I think Lex Luthor, as much as I love Jesse Eisenberg, I thought he did a good job for what he was given. I think Nicholas Holt's going to knock it out of the park. I don't know that I've saw a bad Nicholas Holt movie. Now you can talk about how he was as Beast. I liked him as Beast. My issue was more of the way he looked, not his acting. But I'm a fan of his, especially after watching Renfield. I thought he did really good.
Nicolas Cage.
I thought him and Nicolas Cage had great on-screen chemistry. But I that's all I had on DC.
Is it rankings time?
Well, a little bit of somber news before we lift it back up. Just yesterday, I believe it was just yesterday.
Well, there was reports Friday that happened, but it didn't finally get confirmed till yesterday.
Ricky Henderson.
Yeah.
But Ricky Henderson passed
66.
away at the age of 65, 66, something like that. I mostly know him as from Oakland Athletics. He did play a couple other teams.
Yeah, he played for the Dodgers and a couple other teams, but he really became Ricky Henderson with the A's.
Yeah, and that's where he
started, I think it's
one of the greatest stolen base of all time when it came to stolen bases. He was not a power hitter. He was a contact. He was getting on base.
But he's one of the best pure hitters there.
Weird stance, like in all. One of my favorite baseball players. The only thing that would have made him higher was if he played for the Braves, but not everybody can play for the Braves. But I didn't get to watch him play really because he was a little bit before me. I got to see some of it.
I didn't get to see him at all.
But he was one of those, like, you go back and watch highlights.
Well, see, what I like about
he was good.
I know we're going to beat, but MLB The Show, you really get to learn about these players.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of learned a lot about Ricky Henderson, which, of course, you know me, I'm a big baseball nut.
I want to say he was on the cover of like Triple Play 99 or something.
I think so, but he was one of the most popular players that we get now these days.
Yeah. Even retired, he's popular.
I saw this thing the other day. Someone said we wouldn't get Ronald Acuna Jr. if it wasn't for Ricky Henderson.
I see that.
You know, there's a lot of players we get today that we wouldn't be able to without Ricky Henderson Jr.
Yeah.
Because Harold Reynolds,
that's a name I ain't heard in forever. You know, he played as well.
There was a story where one year he won the actual AL stolen base that Ricky won, like, I can't remember consecutive something years.
Like 3 or 4.
It was a long time.
Yeah.
And because Ricky was out hurt that year with injuries. but he still got 35 stolen bases that year. Ricky did, but
and he hurt.
And he said that Ricky Henderson called him to congratulate him for actually getting more stolen bases than he did. I didn't grow up, of course, with him, because he played in like the 80s. I was one of the
80s.
Early 2000s.
I think he was one of those that probably should have retired when he.
And he, like 65, it's kind of still young in a degree, but I don't know what he died from, though.
I didn't go that in depth. A lot of times that's hard to find in articles because
not too long ago, he threw the last pitch for the A's in their stadium. Right. So
I'm surprised they're still around. I don't think they do well in.
They spent money this offseason, I can tell you that
much. But condolences to his family and loved ones. And also, even though it's usually we would save these for wrestling, Rey Mysterio Sr. passed away. Now, I could not remember age because it just dawned on me again.
He was around that same age too.
Yeah, and when I keep thinking Ray's older than what he is.
I know recently he had a medical decline.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happened, but I think they all knew he was going.
I was thinking heart attack or something.
They all knew he was going to pass away soon.
Right. But it still sucks.
It still sucks. Death is a thing, but it still sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, even if you know down to a T.
You might not know him, but it's still.
Yeah, he was one of those that obviously retired way before, but us all watching Ray.
And he never really got, I don't think he wrestled in the U.S. He was more Mexico.
No, he's definitely a legend of Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
And, him giving us Ray. And then, and then Dom. I think he might have been in a couple segments, possibly.
Maybe.
But that's a long lineage, I believe, as well. I mean, Ray's probably 4th or 5th generation
his himself.
But, condolences to all of them. Because, like you said, 65, 66 is not that old. But it's just the way, unfortunately, it goes. Now, to end on a higher spirited note, would be Christmas being 3 days away, which by the time this is out, it will be 2, 2.5, something like that.
Oh, I got a Christmas movie news that Arnold's in a new Christmas movie.
Oh, my.
With Jack Reacher.
Is that why I saw him on New York walking in an ugly sweater?
It's supposed to be basically like rough. Red 1, and Amazon Prime is putting the movie out.
What are you doing, Amazon?
No, it was a Netflix. It's basically the same prep, but Santa Claus's bag gets stolen, like Santa bag gets stolen, and he has to go to the naughty list and pick out someone and
Jack Anderson's on it.
Yeah. So, but it's supposed to be like more. I think more rated R.
Oh, I'll take that then. I've not heard. I mean, I haven't watched Red 1. It's on Prime. I'm gonna watch it.
It's not as bad as people say.
I think people went into it thinking it too much.
It wasn't. J.K. Simmons is good.
I heard the one that makes it is J.K. and Chris. I heard The Rock's The Rock.
The Rock is just The Rock.
Rock's got that eyebrow going.
I think Rock is more into wrestling than people think he is.
Yeah.
And that just might be me as a major wrestling fan.
I'll fight anyone that says it, but the best wrestler turned actor is Batista. And then John Cena's like right below him.
I do like Batista movies.
But now he's starting to look more and more like, was it Dr. what was his name? The one that was over Arkham Asylum. On Batman.
I hope we do get a movie with Arkham Asylum Batman.
I think we will. I think it's just down the line. Because I think I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get another Suicide Squad down the line.
Yeah.
But we did something special, and it was actually what was my idea wrapped in with your idea?
Because we were going to do comedy movies.
We were going to do comedy movies, but then I had an epiphany and be like, wait a minute, Christmas is like a couple of days away. Let's do Christmas movies. But then I was like, hey, let's just do our 10 favorite, or what we consider the top 10. And I was going to be like, we'll just say the top 10. But then you were like, well, let's number them out. And I was like, well, dang. I got to go number them back out. So do you want to go back and forth, or do you want to say you're 10? Or we
can go back and forth.
We'll start with number 10, though. And do a countdown.
Put 2 twos for a second. Hold on. You can go first.
I thought you said 10, not 22. My number 10 pick is 8 Crazy Nights. Now, do I need to describe what the movie is?
It's the Adam Sandler movie, ain't it?
Yeah.
But you can describe it.
The best part is where he calls that old guy a poopsicle. That's the best part. But that's my number 10. And the reason it's that low is, number one, I've only saw it twice. I don't even own it. So it's one of those movies. Most of what's on my list I own. I'm also pathetic and own like 1,700 movies. But it's one of those movies I feel like you can watch, even at Thanksgiving, because it's got kind of that feel. But I love when I do more comedy Christmas. Now my list might not reflect that fully, but that's kind of where I'm at.
That's the best to me. Is comedy Christmas movies. Yeah. Not this Hallmark crap. I can't stand that.
And there's a couple good dramas. I almost put a couple horrors on my list, but I was like, they're not really.
Black Christmas.
You got Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Violent Night movie came out last year.
Which was, we're not going to talk about it.
I never seen it.
I have a love-hate relationship.
I never seen the movie.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't buy it. So what is your number 10?
My number 10 is I
should have wrote them down, bro.
I should have wrote them down because I thought I could remember in my head. But I would say The Polar Express is number 10.
Okay.
Just because it's enjoyable, but it feels the story goes on too far. And it's a lot better when you were a young kid than...
I've never saw the whole thing in its entirety. I've saw it in parts. I've saw the whole movie, but it's been like the second half, and I'm like, well, I haven't saw the first half, and then I watch the first half, but then I don't have time to watch it, or I don't catch the second half.
Yeah.
No, that's not bad. That's not bad.
What about your number 9, sir?
My number 9 is Santa Claus. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
All of 3 of them, or just the first one?
Just the first. That's another series that should have stopped, and now we're getting another one. Or it's a show. No, the new one's a show.
The first 2 was good.
The reason it's not higher is it's not that I don't like Tim Allen. I don't know how to put it, but we get so many Santa movies. But it was something different. That's why I cracked my top 10. It was something different. It was not Santa. It was him becoming Santa. Had to do the claws and all that. But Tim Allen, at one point, for me, I guess I'm not a big Tim fan, but he could still carry that comedy for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't a Home Improvement guy, but he had that comedy, and just the way they interpreted a Santa movie to me was good.
Yeah.
He's not higher because I got better movies on this.
Number 9 for me is probably Jingle All the Way. Arnold movie. Arnold.
Yeah. He did a couple Christmas. No. Yeah. Maybe.
Man,
Go ahead. Well, I was thinking Turbo Man, but that's in Jingle All the Way.
Yeah. I think it's just it's a cult classic movie. Who doesn't love when who don't love when a dad, goes out of his way to get his son a toy he wants?
Not mentioning it had Sinbad.
And Sinbad is pretty
I love Sinbad, man. He was a good sailor, too.
What's your number 8?
Number 8! National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, my list is a mixture of my top 10, but stuff I also recognize that should be top 10. So, these aren't movies. I'm not saying I don't like them. But like Christmas Vacation, there's a couple parts in it that, to me, gets it on that list. Because not only do you see it in memes everywhere. Mm-hmm. Everybody who knows this movie has it on their list, I think, in top 10. If they're old enough. Randy Quaid, to me, is hilarious in it. And that part where he's cutting the tree, and the neighbor goes, "What are you gonna do with that tree?" And I'm not going into all that, but that's one of the original, to me, comedy Christmas movies. And like I said, I prefer the comedy over anything else. Not when we get to number one, but you've known me long enough, you'll see why my number one is my number one. But this should be top 10 in my opinion.
Well, guess what? I have it at number 8 also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We agree.
Now there's family member in my family that think this movie is the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
In our family or Modern Family?
Not Modern. Actually, that's a good TV series.
It is really good. I'm only on season 3.
I've watched all of it.
Oh man, I'm envious.
But they say, to me, the jokes, there's a funny joke, but if you go, some of those jokes just doesn't age well.
Yeah, not necessarily the context of the joke, but just the joke in general.
And to me, when it comes to a Christmas movie, I can sit down and I can enjoy it, but it's not my top 5. I don't want to say we
I'm still trying to think of who had it at number 1 in our. I probably wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, but
I tend to sometimes not listen.
But I don't want basically the same stuff you said. The same.
Yeah. Some of it's meme worthy, and I love the memes, and the fact that this movie was early 90s or late 80s?
Somewhere
was it like 93?
I wonder if he was still on Saturday Night Live when this movie came out. I don't think he was.
No, I don't think so, because that was 70s or 80s. I mean,
it was somewhere around there.
But even the cat getting in the tree. I mean, everybody's had that. My number 7 was Holiday Inn. Now, this is hard to describe to you because you're a whippersnapper. But this movie was 50s. But basically, it's a musical, more of a musical number type. You had me and my brother were talking about this, and I'm horrible with some of the older movies. The reason it's part of my top 10 is, number 1, it was a family watched every year type. So I mean, it was something we saw every year. There was 2 of them. There was Holiday Inn and White Christmas. White Christmas didn't make my list because I actually like Holiday Inn more. I'm just trying to make sure I don't get the plot mixed up between the two. But you had where these 2 guys used to be military. They got out. They went to help their friend open this inn. And to help pay for it, they would get different acts, to come in and be the entertainment. And one of them was these 2 sisters. I think they were sisters. They might have been best friends. And they fall in love, and it's a Christmas tale. And it's got a little bit of everything, a little bit of, I wouldn't say drama, but you got your musical, which I do like some of the musicals we've had. More past, not modern. Some of the modern musicals are not as good to me. But we have a little bit of comedy, of them trying to, get stuff right. So that's up there for me. It would be higher, but it was not one of my favorites. It beats out Christmas Vacation because it's where that's meme worthy. Mm-hmm. I can go a year without watching that. And I can go a year without watching Holiday Inn as well, but I'm more likely to pop in Holiday Inn over National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And to me, Christmas Vacation didn't have everything in it compared to what Holiday Inn had. So what is your number 7, Senor?
My number 7 is, you probably never heard of this movie, but it's called Arthur Christmas.
I've heard of it.
It's an animated movie. I
saw it once.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a movie I enjoy a lot.
And then the one, he's a basic dude, but it's
a Santa. It's basically, he's Santa's kid, and Santa's getting older, and Santa couldn't go out this time, so Arthur stepped up and went out, delivered presents, and basically everything went smoothly. I need to go back and rewatch it. It's one of my favorites. But it's a good wholesome Christmas movie.
I think I've saw it one time and I didn't have a problem with it. It's just it's not something you see every day.
Yeah.
My number 6 is Trading Places. Now, once again, comedy, but you have legends in this. You got Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis, Eddie Murphy, the 2 older guys. But basically is it's these two old guys have a bet. Hey, if we can make this guy trade places with this guy, can we make just as much money? Or, how hard of a job type scenario it is. And it's so funny because they took, if I remember correctly, Homeless Man and Eddie Murphy, trade him out with Dan Aykroyd. He was like top of his game type scenario. And it's just funny because Dan Aykroyd's trying to get his job back the whole time, and Eddie Murphy's just like living it up, type. And then you throw in Jamie Lee Curtis, who is a like prostitute with a heart of gold type scenario to an extent, who feels bad for Aykroyd and tries to help him out, type thing. And it's just funny. And before anybody says anything, it is taken literally during Christmas. It's during Christmas and everything. It's centered around that type of scenario. I don't want to say maybe Scrooge-esque to it, but you don't get much comedy like that. I would say this is more of a
funny Scrooge type story.
An M, rated M type, more comedy. I would say, yeah. I would say more. And the reason I say loosely, I'm not calling, Dan Aykroyd, I think it was Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. A Scrooge, but it was like, he was the richer type, and then this guy down here, got elevated, but it gives me more of that, be happy for what you have type thing, because you could lose at any moment, type scenario. So
at number 6 for me, which might be controversial where I put this in the movie, but I got Home Alone at number 6.
Not top 5.
Not top 5. It's one of those movies where every Christmas it's Home Alone.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think this was Macaulay Culkin's first real big movie. I think.
No, it's probably second, because I think My Girl was his first, I believe.
Okay, but
it's all around that. I think My Girl, Page Master, and
it was just a good wholesome comedy movie. I think was it the 2 or 3 Thieves? I think it was just a 2.
It was 2. It was Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern.
I think they were both
one of my favorite movies.
They played good characters. The traps were good. It was funny.
It would have been a lot shorter if one of them just had a gun.
Yeah, it shot the kid. But then it's not a... Well,
it's like, the stairs look messed up. I don't think I'm going to go upstairs. That's a Family Guy. I'm sorry. It's Family Guy.
But it's at number 6 for me.
Okay. Number 5. Because some of what you had on your list, we're getting to mine. Number 5, I have Jingle All the Way. And there's a couple of reasons. Once again, comedy. But it's Arnold comedy. So it's like awkward. Some of Arnold's comedy is just like awkward because he's a big goofball. But then you throw in the fact that I remember those times where you had people fighting in stores and like grandma wanting to whoop your tail, or I remember those, people getting trampled during Christmas. You don't really have it now because of so much online shopping. And then the fact that, Sinbad, that was during some of the height of his career. Dude is hilarious, which I think health-wise he's not doing as well now, which sucks. He didn't pass away, did he?
No, he's still alive.
Okay, but he does have health issues right now. And he was comedian, so he worked perfectly. I think it has a really horrible spinoff.
Did you Larry the Cable Guy version?
Yeah, it's so bad. I saw it once. I barely made it through it. At one point they were talking about making a Turbo Man movie, but then they were like, I think it resembled too much of like Buzz Lightyear type, so it didn't happen. But I think there was a short, like a short film.
I have to look it up.
But those type of toys were a big deal then. But the comedy in it is just great. By the time it ended, Sinbad was the ultimate villain type. So it was to me, you had all the story you needed in it. It was comedy, some action, and you had like superhero villain because he became Turbo Man to an extent. So that's my number 5.
Number 5 is Elf. I like Will Ferrell. To me, he's just funny. That might just be my generation or whatever of Will Ferrell. It's how do I put it's very iconic
Right.
to me at least. I can watch the movie not any time of the year because for Christmas movies,
Right.
it's at a certain time of year mood.
Yeah, so far what I've named, I would not say year round. Even yeah, I understand. What you mean.
Iconic. Just when you think of Will Ferrell, the first movie comes out as Elf, or the main.
I would say that's easy top three.
You
Yeah.
know, yeah, that's about it. It's my number 5.
Hey, your list, bro. Number 4, Muppet Christmas Carol. Now, the younger generation probably, and I don't know about you because I don't know if you
I've
saw
watched it. It's not been.
I don't think they can ever actually appreciate the Muppets, and I'm not talking Sesame Street. The actual Muppets, Miss Piggy, Kermie. I'm not gonna say it the way she does. Kermie. Now, see, you got me saying it. Muppet Christmas Carol was something different because you have 2,000 Christmas carols. You got to see it from like when you're a child. The others were too serious. Yes, there was seriousness to the Muppet Christmas Carol, but you learned more. I feel like for them, and I watch it every year. I've not watched all the other ones, but that's one that I can sit down and watch, and it still hits like when I was little. It still gets me emotional and teary eyed. Not to mention, it's kind of comical. Some of it is comical. The old men are hilarious, but they were always some of my favorites anyway. To me, it still hits, and I think even a younger generation could appreciate it if they watched it.
Yeah.
That's why it's 4 for me. It would be higher, but I got some good ones.
Well, we're about to be on 2 runs of Vince Vaughn Christmas movies.
Okay.
I have Fred Claus, and
I've never saw it.
It's not in anybody's top 10. But it's in my top 10.
It's more rated R-ish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not mainly focused on. It's on focus on Santa Claus's brother Fred, and which I don't think he ever had a brother named Fred, but
Santa Claus's real name is Kris Kringle.
But Vince Vaughn, I like Vince Vaughn. It's just one of those guys I just like watching his movies. To me, he's funny.
Yeah, if we ever do a top 10 comedy actors, he's probably top 3 for me.
I haven't watched these movies yet. Well, I've watched these movies, but I haven't rewatched them in quite a while.
So you're telling me I need to watch it?
I would recommend watch it. It's funny. It's Vince Vaughn humor.
So
I like the Santa Claus who plays in it, but Santa Claus has like a medical problem. Like, not a medical problem, but he's like a broken leg or something.
Made it sound like he needs a life alert bracelet.
But he has like a broken leg or something, so
Right.
Fred Claus has to step up and actually be Santa Claus for the night. It's got that.
Watching Vince Vaughn trying to do that sounds hilarious.
Yeah. He's basically the naughty of the nice.
Right.
You have all of his everybody's disappointed in his life. His parents are disappointed with how he turned out. There's a love interest that doesn't know he's Fred Claus.
Is it Christina Applegate?
No, it's not Christina.
It just seems like that'd be a Christina Applegate movie. Oh. Well, dang, that could be anyway.
But it's a good watch. It's a very good Christmas movie.
It's around number 3.
You want me to go for my third one?
No, I can.
Okay.
It's Jim Carrey's The Grinch Stole Christmas.
Number 3.
I love this movie. There's 4 or 5 Grinch movies at least. You have the Benedict Cumberbatch one.
the latest one, I think.
And then there's a couple more. But Jim Carrey was just perfect. Like, when somebody asks me who my favorite Grinch is, I say Jim Carrey. That movie to me is iconic. I think I missed it last year because I didn't have it, but I have it now, and I'll more than likely will watch it. I don't know when I'll get around to it. Probably sometime this week. Jim Carrey's one of those, like him or not. I lost a little bit of my love for him over the years, but then he doesn't have to earn anybody's respect back, but he's earned it back with some of his stuff. But he's perfect. Like, to me, because he's got that, you can feel that Grinch, like it's perfect. I don't know of a way to put it. He's so good. Your number 3, son?
My number 3 is another Vince Vaughn classic Christmas movie, Four Christmases.
I've heard of it.
It's him and Reese Witherspoon. They go, both of their parents are divorced. Mm-hmm. So
Are they brother and sister?
No, they're married. Oh. They're a married couple. And I don't know, I guess they have trouble having kids because at the end, like at New Year's next year, they have kids, like 2 set of twins. I don't know. But they go around to all 4 parents' basically Christmas.
Right.
Like there's a lot of like famous, not famous, but a lot of comedians in there. It's funny. It's not. It has its sad parts and stuff, but it's mainly more comedian driven because it's all 4 Christmases. I think they switch out parents. Like they don't just go straight to Vince Vaughn's 2 parents and then Reese Witherspoon's 2 parents. It's kind of all mixed up together into one funny movie.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I think I even remember the cover art.
Yeah, it's got like 4 different boxes.
Yeah, and then he's in one. I want to say she's in one, but I don't remember.
I would watch it before Wednesday, Christmas.
My number 2 is Home Alone. And one of the biggest reasons my number 2 is Home Alone was for someone we talked about with yours. I think, would you have it at 6?
Yeah.
Was, number 1, I grew up with it. Like, I think I was 8 years old when it came out. So I was about the age of, I was a little bit younger than what, I think he was considered, 10 or 11 in that movie, I think. But that's always been like one of my fears when I was little was being left somewhere.
And then
but it wouldn't have been my family going on a vacation.
2 thieves come in, try to steal stuff, and then you guys set traps up.
There's some past stuff about stolen stuff that I'm not reaching on, but it's funny. It's hilarious. It's like the traps were traps we could set up. It wasn't. I mean, some of them are like over the top, but it's still like, I'm gonna be honest with you. As a kid, I probably could have thought of stuff worse than that. Or the fact that him using, I don't remember what that movie that is. The Filthy Animal line is still massive today. It's still used. But that's up there because I watch it every year. That's one of my, and I watch it, I know it's considered, but I've watched it throughout the year before. I watched it at Thanksgiving. Now, it stops at 1 because the others are really
2
bad.
Ain't that bad.
2's pretty good, where it's New York. But 1 is just iconic. 3 was one of the worst movies I've ever watched.
That's when he was done with it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did 1 and 2, and Alex Lenz, I believe is the kid's name, was in 3. Now, Alex Lenz, I like. I thought, he's done a couple, but he was mostly child actor. But that's my number 2.
My number 2 is The Grinch, Jim Carrey.
That's we have 2 or 3 on our list.
The same thing. It's the same thing you said, so I don't want to go over.
Right.
I really do like Jim Carrey is one of the top 3 actors I just enjoy watching.
And I think that came out more when you were
It was around Like I like the Benedict Cumberbatch one that came out. That was really good. I haven't
saw it all the way.
But to me, The Grinch just stands out with Jim Carrey. Yeah. Like that's everyone's top. That's my top. There's nothing more to say about it.
My number one might be controversial because I think it's also viewed as a Halloween movie, but it is literally in the title, Nightmare Before Christmas. And
Jack Skellington one?
yes. You, as long as you've known me, and of course you see around the house, I have so much. There's two things in the house: Batman and Nightmare Before Christmas. Nightmare Before Christmas is one of those that I feel like it teaches us to be thankful for what we got.
I might need to rewatch it.
In like a messed up way, I guess, so to speak, because but the voice cast is great. It's got some of my favorite characters in any, because some people I forget it's a Disney movie. I think in general
it is.
But you had Oogie Boogie, you got Sally, you got the mayor, which is like weird, creepy looking. You got Zero, which is like one of the most famous dogs in the movie.
My sister loves them. They let you know.
And I think she got that from me. I mean, it's one of those movies that I watch 3 times a year. I watch at Halloween, I watch around Thanksgiving, and I watch it at Christmas. And honestly, you can watch it year round. So
my number one, and this is my number one, is the Santa Claus movies.
Yeah, and it's subjective. These are subjective lists.
To me, I like watching all 3 of them. Now, could they stop making the third one? Yeah. But the first one was really good. The second one was really good, and I enjoy Martin Short in the third one.
Is that the third one? Now that's got some funny moments. I will give it that. I thought that was the second one for some reason.
Second one is when he has to go back and find.
Is that where he's got to have a kid?
He's got to find Mrs. Claus.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay. Maybe I'm thinking a different set of movies.
I think the first one is when he becomes Santa Claus.
Yeah, because I do like the first one. That's why it went in the top 10.
Second one is when he has to go back and find Mrs. Claus because he's losing powers.
I don't remember.
And the third one is when it was him, Mother Nature, Sandman.
Who does he play? Martin Short.
He plays Jack Frost.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Jack Frost wants to become one of the 4 main, because it's an Easter Bunny, all those, and he tricks Santa Claus into saying, "I wish I was never Santa Claus again." And then they redo the film from the first one where Santa Claus falls off, but instead this time Jack Frost becomes Santa Claus. Tim Allen becomes Batman Scott Calvin. Yeah. And so his life, he never was. Everybody forgot he was Santa Claus.
Right.
Because Jack Frost became Santa Claus, but then in the end they did switcheroo and Scott Frost becomes. So you might need to rewatch them again, and maybe
because I think I was thinking of something else.
Give me what you were thinking these movies were.
I just didn't remember 2 and 3.
You might need to go back.
Now I remember 1 vividly because I saw it actually a month ago. So I might have to just watch it because it's been so long. I'm one of those, if you don't catch me. If you don't get me the first time, then I'm kind of done.
Now, the TV series that came out with, I liked it, but...
See, in my opinion, not everything needs a show or a sequel.
I think it was mainly Tim Allen wanted to do it.
Like as a send-off kind of.
Yeah.
Program. Now, do you have any honorable mentions?
No, not really.
I was thinking of
not anything that I could think right now.
Giving some shout outs to like movies. I think horror deserves a place in Christmas movies. I didn't give it any because none jump out, but most of my research was off of what I own in the top 100 list.
Which, I mean, I know we both haven't done the Terrifier movies, horror movies, but the third one's technically Christmas.
Yes, and not to mention there's a couple Krampus movies. We were talking about it earlier, Violent Night.
Like, a lot of people have Bad Santas in their top 10s.
I just didn't like them. I didn't like the first one. Some of that's a Billy Bob Thornton issue with me.
Oh, yeah, I forgot his name for a second.
Or Billy Bong Thornton from a different movie. There's plenty of other movies. It's just, we didn't have a long time to research.
And also, to me,
I think with more time,
a lot of top 10 comedy movies are not comedy. Christmas movies are the comedy aspects to them.
Yeah, a lot of when I was growing up, I didn't want the
because
seriousness.
If you think about Christmas, it's supposed to be a happy, even though it might not, but it's supposed to be happy feeling.
Yeah, and you got some that I left off just because this is our top 10. Now,
when I think about Halloween, I think about the horror movies and stuff like that because of the time.
And Nightmare Before Christmas again.
But that could be... See, to me, I like Nightmare Before Christmas, but I think I need it, like you with the Santa Claus movie, I need to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. And it's one of those scenarios, too. There are some that are considered classics by many. And we were talking about with family, there was some mentioned, but...
See, like,
these were like our top, and like one that was mentioned, I forgot it existed, was Ernest Saves Christmas. Well, my first thing when I think Ernest is Ernest Goes to Jail. You know, that's my favorite one. I forgot he did a Christmas. Or you have like people who love Wonderful Life, or
Miracle on 34th Street.
Miracle on 34th Street, or Christmas Story. And we're not saying those aren't good. They're just not our top 10.
They're people's opinions.
Right. And that's what a kind of a top 10 is, or a blind ranking.
Even though we had the same movies in the top 10, but they're all...
Yeah, we had, what, 4, I think?
Let's see, like, I look at 4 Christmases
3
and Fred Claus. A lot of people probably hadn't even seen Fred Claus, but like maybe once. Because like I thoroughly enjoy that movie.
Because when they think Vince Vaughn, they don't think Christmas movie. I know I don't. And then there's some, like we had 3 or 4 on our top 10s that we agreed on. And we had a small discussion, but we didn't know who was on what's top 10 until now.
Like, I feel like...
And I had to knock some off. I had like 12 or 13.
The Christmas Vacation, I feel like older people would put that a lot more higher than we put it at. Because that's just... I think they understand the jokes a lot more better than we do. Than the jokes we get.
Some of those jokes were allowed more then.
Yeah.
My thing is, too, I had a couple on my list that I recognized in my top 10 because I do like them, but I recognize them as the fact that they're top 100 easily.
Yeah.
Like Christmas Vacation almost didn't make my list, but I recognize it as people are going to talk about it. Like, no matter what age you are, people know it. Mm-hmm. They might not know the name of it, but they know the meme. They, you know, because I've saw people...
And the neighbors were pretty funny in there, too.
Yeah. But this kind of wraps this one up, but we do have a lot down the pipeline. The only thing I was going to mention that is definite is we probably the same day as that this comes out. This will come out first, but coming out the same day will be more college football playoff prediction. Now that we know the next level, we're going to be predicting from then on. We also have down the pipeline, I'm working on the awards for the movie awards. What we're doing is, we're doing all time.
First year.
For this first year, we're doing an all time. And I'm not going to break down what the awards are right now, but they're going to be the Randoms Podcast All Time Movie Awards. Mostly because this year we didn't really, time and money didn't allow us to really get out. And we're also going to be doing the NFL playoff prediction. And that's where I'm only talking about the stuff in January planned. This is planned January. Now, we'll still be doing our every 2 weeks wrestling pop culture. And we'll be implementing more stuff into the future.
Wrestling's about to become a lot more prevalent, though.
Yeah. Our actual next podcast is going to be Saturday night's main event. I have mixed in 2 other things to go with it. So, stay tuned to that. We got 2025 is going to be our first full year. And we got some big things planned for the channel. Mm-hmm. Big things. So, just be watching out for us and leave a message. We might not we don't really respond a lot because we're always trying to come up with stuff.
I will try my best to respond though.
Yeah, and we handle different things. Like I handle YouTube, the Greens website, and I handle Twitter. You have Snapchat. I also do Facebook. I do them all except Snapchat. But you are our verification guy. So, and we promise to be better at that. I'm trying to get more fluent in Twitter. I know Twitter's not hard. It's just I'm not good at stuff like that. I have been posting more on Facebook under the Randoms Podcast. But pretty much you can find us everywhere at the Randoms Podcast. It's just some places you can't use a space and some places you can. So you got to do it both ways. But yeah, you'll be seeing more of us. We're going to try to put out at least one video a week. We might film it all at one time, but we're going to try to put out one a week. Also, we're going to be hitting TikTok more. I don't know about today, but we're going to be working on a plan for that. We got a couple videos up. TikTok's kind of hard to do as a podcast unless you're putting out full episodes and various videos. We're also going to be dabbling in YouTube Shorts. And we got some other stuff down the line. I just don't want to put too much of it out there in case something happens and we can't pull it off. Mm-hmm. But until next time, we'll see you later.
Peace.